Hi, my name is Jay Martin. Thank you for watching TW Replays. We had a new player hop into the Discord the other day, which is really neat to see. His name is Babitt, and he wanted to play some games. And posted a replay file. I figured I'd do a video on it, show some, maybe, room for improvement or things that I think this player is doing well. So this is cool. This is Babitt right here. He's his GB. The first thing I'd note, just a slight thing, when players say for light artillery or light infantry, the rifle unit there and then the light infantry are both considered lights. Or what that really means is any unit with a range longer than 100. So if a player says no artillery, max of 4 lights, then you would need to. There's 6 of them here between the lights and the rifles, so you just want to choose 4 of those. And then, other than that, the build of the army, or the composition, I think is quite fine. There's 2 fencible units in there. There may be... Okay, Dragoon Guard. I should have looked at this before the thing. So it looks like we have a bunch of regular foot and then 2 more elite cav units. An observation I would make is that generally you want to bring the cheapest cav units possible. For GB, that would be the light dragoon. Again, a general comment, but otherwise this looks really good. You have a bunch of infantry. Looks like there's 2 cav units, which I think is really appropriate for this country. So I like the composition of the army that you brought. We might talk about how you're deployed here as the game starts. Generally speaking, when the game begins, especially on grassy, you want everybody kind of stretched out in a line all the way across. Now, your opponent's a dumbass who's doing something weird. But these troops back here, I can see we're kind of struggling to give you... There goes the move order. Okay, so that's good. I mean, it looks like this group you want to push out to the right, so you might as well start with them over to the right. And I don't think it happens in this game, but you can get in trouble if an opponent runs to the center of the field and gets a position on you that you don't want. So go ahead at the beginning of the game, just have all of these units arrayed kind of all across the center here. And if you want to be a little flexible, thinking where you maybe want to move these guys somewhere in the future, that's a fine idea, but you can always start with them all in line and then move them later. It would just be kind of a comment that I would make. But overall, as we're getting started in the game, I like the composition of your army. Let's just kind of see what you're doing with it, is what I think. Your opponent here is Prussia. It looks like they're playing pretty standard. There's 4 lights in the center. Again, if we're talking specifically about the grassy flatlands kind of meta, you would generally want to start with your lights in the center, just because that's where most people put them. It looks like these lights are moving to the right. That's fine. Let's see what you want to do. The rifles are moving out front. I would probably consider deploying stakes right here. You're outnumbered 4 lights with a fencible in the middle. So, oh, I have a cat. Get off of there. Cat really wants to click on your units on the monitor. So I would consider deploying stakes right there, is what I'm getting at. What else? If I'm being a little nitpicky, your general here, I think, got caught up in a move order with everybody else, so the general probably shouldn't be sitting right there. That's okay. What are we doing on the right? We're moving a bunch of troops over. You know, okay. The battle starts. The rifles get a good shot at that one Fusilier. If you had targeted fire on that unit, that's a pretty good move. If you can, you want to target fire all at one unit to maybe get them to rout before anybody else. And now all of the cats are interested, so everybody's up here. Come on. Come on, everybody. Let's go. Now, shit, I missed it. This cav charge here everybody else is still getting into position. I'm not saying this is, well, it's kind of a bad thing. So you can go back to some of my older videos and learn about kind of how to optimize your cav use. But the short version is you want to use cav to support your infantry. And so charging the dragoons in there, I guess they turn around. Or they see the square, or something weird happens there. I'm not really sure what you're... okay, you change targets over here. That's probably fine. But the point I want to make that we can look back here is nothing else is happening. In fact, they all stop moving. Because you're trying to give a command to that Dragoon Guard unit. So the rear guard there isn't accomplishing a whole lot. So you might have wanted to wait to do that until your infantry were in a position to do something, you know, to help out. So the Dragoon Guard routes without accomplishing a whole lot. Kind of left that one in the field. Now you have a really good position here. Let me slow down a little bit. Let's just take a look. Prussians coming over here. Maybe we want to... That's potentially a danger, so we maybe want to move over there. But I like the position you have over here. So if we draw the map into thirds, you know, a line here and here, there's 4 units there, okay. And you have a really good mass of firepower potentially over here, right? You have the 1, 2, 3, 4 lights. I think you're trying to figure out where you want to move these two. But you have a really good position here. You have 2 lights with a bunch of line backing them up. If you wanted to pick, you know, if we wanted to pick a spot on the field where you wanted to be aggressive, you definitely have a preponderance of force here. And I think if we were looking at this, this is where you'd want a fight to happen. I think you have a little bit of a problem. You realize that your rifles are kind of outgunned. And this isn't going to get any better. It's going to be 4 lights shooting against 2 line. Is that actually just 1 fensible 1 foot? Okay. If your opponent was better, he would be charging cav down the center right now. And then I must have missed this, but it looks like another cav charge went in really early. Again, an unsupported cav charge is not great. You're not going to get a lot of value for your expensive guard cav unit there. And then your infantry just aren't in position to take advantage of the squares is something to think about. So maybe holding your cav back, especially a consideration when you're GB and you really only have the 2 cav units. So something you want to think about when you're playing GB specifically is your strength is your infantry. If you have fewer cav units on the field and you have more infantry, then what you really want is to get good attrition trade-offs with your infantry. And then as units route off the field, your cav become more powerful. They get more utility as the game goes longer and there's fewer units. So I would really consider holding this cav back. Maybe if you took one thing away from this game, that's maybe what you do. I do like how you moved your infantry in here to get into a good position. You get a good volley off right there. The second cav charge from the Dragoon Guards is probably good, and it catches no square there. So now that was good. So this is the antithesis of what I was talking about earlier. Your cav get in there, and they actually get a rout. That's really nice. They get a rout on the musketeers really early. And your cav are supporting your infantry, and then your cav get to continue the charge into here. And then you actually hit the square against the Prussian cav. So this is exactly how you want to do it. I think this is a much... and look, you even got that unit to square, and your cav isn't even close to it. But the Prussian player's a little nervous because you already routed one of their infantry. So...
Our men are running, sir.
And then they route. Like, you have a really good thing going on right here with these Dragoon Guards. They routed 2 infantry units. And then your infantry is a little disorganized, it looks like. But you're doing a really good job on that flank. So while we were looking over there, what's happening over here? It looks like... Yeah, your lights are doing really well here. You've routed one musketeer. Second one's in the red already. These units aren't... So you have an advantage here. How'd that unit get down so low already? Probably fire from them. So you have an advantage here. So I would... and we identified this a few minutes ago. So I would consider... there's 5 line units here. You're only facing 4. You have 9 plus a cav. You have 10 units facing off against 5 in this section of the field. This is where I would really consider advancing. Now, where we have a little bit of a problem is predictably the Prussian was heavy in the center, and so the Prussian's kind of turning and the lights are shooting on your flank here. And then the left's a little disorganized. I'm really impressed that your Dragoon Guard is still active there. I think that this left side of the field was a pretty even fight that you did
Our
well.
men are running, sir.
With your cav routing 2 infantry, that you did really well on the left there. I would have maybe hoped for a bit better of an outcome on that. You're still doing fine, actually. It's
Our
2v2.
men are running, sir.
I guess the observation I'd make is there's so few units on this part of the field right now, it's not really going to decide anything. And if we're talking about winning the game now, what has happened... What has happened is you've done a good job at routing on the right. And so what's left is your strong right versus the Prussian strong center. And I don't know, I guess we could take a tally and figure out who has the most units left. Or who's advantaged going into this phase of the game. But if we talk about the symmetry in Napoleon games, you were stronger on the right and carried that, alright? The Prussian was stronger in the center, carried that. And the left was pretty even. I thought you played better on the left than the Prussian did. And we wind up in this kind of situation, which is fairly even, but the extra Prussian cav unit's probably going to turn the tide here. That's a fairly oblique angle coming in there, but that's enough to route that foot. Yeah, so... And then what we're doing, what happens a lot of times in these grassy games is... when the game's symmetrical and each side wins a flank, we wind up reorienting our armies this direction. And it looks to me like you're behind now, so that the game is probably going to play it like that. But overall, I thought it is a pretty solid game played. I think you're a bit of a newer player, if I understand that right. So this is a pretty awesome display of skill from somebody with less experience, less hours. Played so well done. So the things I think I'd comment, just maybe hold your cav back a little earlier, just make sure it's working in concert with your infantry. Your cav on the left did an amazing job just kind of on their own, which shouldn't really happen. Not saying you got lucky or anything there, but...
Sir, our general is under attack.
That unit really performed fairly well. And then on the right hand, if you see you have a big advantage in material and how many units are sitting there, then you probably want to push that a little bit harder. And then maybe the third comment, if you rewatch this game again, maybe mitigating how much damage can happen in the center where you are outnumbered, right? That kind of maximizing when you're losing is definitely part of the game, and or withdrawing so you just
the men are
don't get
fatigued,
wiped.
sir, and must rest a while.
And this is a very reasonable end to a grassy game. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. 7v10 units at this point, it's kind of a foregone conclusion, but that's a pretty reasonable conclusion to a fairly even grassy game, I think. So I thought Babitt performed pretty well here. And if you're new to playing on grassy in particular, it can be a really brutal map to pay your tuition on. Even on the other maps
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
with forests on them, you can just sit in the forest and not make a complete dumbass out of yourself. But if you hop into a grassy game, and the other player can really beat you pretty good, and if you're able to come out of it
Glorious victory, sir,
a
is soon to be
respectable,
yours.
I gotta turn that shit off. If you're able to come out of it with a respectable unit count at the end, then I think you played a pretty good game. That's how you'd go. So that's about it. So Babitt, there you go. It's neat to just see a newer player hopping in. He was in the Discord asking for games. I don't know, but he looks at that anymore or anything. But maybe give this guy a game. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you all are doing okay. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. My name is Jay Martin. Bye.